Hey guys, Captain here. So last week I showed off instructions for how to build my Lego BB-8 droid from the new Star Wars film. And while I was at it, I also decided to design Lego R2-D2, which has showed up in every Star Wars film so far. And R2-D2 has some neat features. The legs can be angled, so you can kind of roll along. The head can rotate. It's dependent a bit on the angle of the legs, but sure enough it is possible. And I'll show off how to build R2-D2 and include all these cool features in just a moment. So first let's start with R2's head. Some of you may recognize it to be half of a Lowell sphere, so if you watched my Lego Pokeball video, the design for R2's head is pretty similar to that. First let's start with the front face, which is the most interesting one. Take two corner plates in light gray, stick a 1x2 blue plate and kind of the bottom part of the front of that, and then stick a blue jumper plate right above that. On the, holding it at ourselves, on the right side of the blue 1x2, place a red 1x1 either translucent tile or just a translucent red stud. Either will work fine. I think the tile is a little nicer. And then on the jumper plate, stick a black stud. Now what we want to do is stick blue jumper plates behind our corner plates, and on the top part of that stick a 1x4 light gray plate also behind. And now we want to take a light gray cone and stick it next to our little translucent red piece. The side faces are going to be the same, so we just make this twice. We take two light gray corner plates, stick a 1x2 plate in blue at the bottom of that, just as we did before. Behind, we stick two 1x2 plates in light gray, oriented upwards. And behind the top of that, we stick two light gray jumper plates. Like I said, make that twice. Those will be the side faces. For the back face, again pretty simple. Like we've done before, take two corner plates in light gray, hold them together with a 1x2 plate in blue, stick jumper plates behind, again in blue, and then a light gray 1x4 plate also behind. It's really just a simpler version of the front face. For the top face, take four corner plates in blue. On top, stick either a 2x2 gray plate or a 2x2 round light gray plate. As I pointed out in the BB-8 video, if you use an actual plate, it'll hold it together better, but the light gray plate will do just fine. Then on the sides, place 1x4 gray plates behind, and light gray jumper plates in the other spots. Putting this half together is actually going to be pretty easy, because as part of the rotating head feature, we're going to use a 4x4 light gray plate. So in the corners of that, stick Travis bricks, and then attaching our faces should be a simple task. We can stick our front plate on first. We want to attach these Travis bricks to the back, or to the top of the corner plates. I think I didn't rotate them very well. There we go. And this will make it obvious where we stick our top plate. And then place our back plate and the side plates, same as before. And with that, we have R2-D2's head. Alright, now for the body. What's clever about this is that it's really just the thickest part of the Lowell sphere. You can think of it as an equator or whatever. Just extended down into a cylinder. So before we make the actual faces of it, let's take care of two little contraptions. First, what we'll want to do is take a white 4x4 plate and then a white 4x4 round plate. We'll want to press down the round plate on top of the square plate. And then upside down, stick some Travis bricks into this. And this is going to serve as the underside to R2-D2. And then for the top, we'll want to take a, really doesn't matter on the color, I use dark gray, 4x4 plate. On top of it, stick a 2x2 plate, again, color doesn't really matter. And then a turntable. Color again, doesn't really matter. And then underneath this, stick 4 more Travis bricks. This will serve as the top side, and the turntable will allow R2's head to rotate. Now, some advice, it actually might be favorable to take our turntable and not stick it down too hard. Maybe just press it up just a little bit so there's a little bit of airspace. And this will make it so that R2's head can stick on a little tighter. This may be advantageous because, as I've noticed, when I press it down pretty tightly, R2's head falls off relatively easily. So, let's stick these in the back for now. Now, what we can do for our front and back faces, this is pretty easy. We want to make this thing twice. So, start with a 4x6 white plate. In the back, at the bottom, stick a light gray jumper plate, and above that, stick white jumper plates going up the edges. Do the same on the other side. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little hole here. We're going to stick another light gray jumper plate. The color doesn't matter too much, but light gray I think works best for this. Black will work fine too. This is really just filling out a little bit of airspace that's left behind in R2-D2. And you'll see what I mean when I place pieces on the bottom. So like I said, do this twice. For the back side, it's very simple. You can just stick a 2x6 white plate centered on our 4x6. For the front, we get to make a design. On the top, start with a 1x2 white plate horizontally, then a blue grill horizontally, then a vertical 1x2 blue plate, and next to that, a 1x2 white plate. You can actually really just fill out the space however you like. For example, here I use a 1x2 white plate horizontally, and then a 1x1 white plate. But that's kind of a remnant of the design. You can just use a corner plate, or you can use a 1x1 and a 1x4, whatever floats your boat. And then I put a stud here. I use dark gray rather than light gray because I think it looks a little bit nicer. For the side faces, again, they're the exact same. So we once more start with a 4x6 white plate. In the back, ideally, if you have 1x6 plates in light gray, stick with those. I used black because that's what I had sitting around. But like I said, light gray will look a little better. In fact, if you do something like black, you may even consider black jumper plates here just to match. But like I said, it doesn't matter too much because it only sticks out a little bit on the underside. So on the bottom here, place, you can stick a 2x2 white tile. I think I ran out of those, which is why I used 1x2s. But I oriented them vertically, so it kind of matches nicely with these two grills in dark gray that we'll also place above going vertically. And then stick a turntable. This part also isn't super visible because R2's legs kind of cover it up. So now what do we want to do? The bottom is going to be pretty easy to take care of. Just stick it as low as you can basically so the plates stick out just a little bit. And then I probably should leave a little room so I can stick the top faces on. What we want to do with the top is we actually don't want to stick it into the back of this top jumper plate. We want to stick it into one below. And so this allows for our turntable to just attach to the head. This is a little tricky to do. And I think when I first did this, my R2 body fell apart once. But be patient with it, be gentle with it, and it'll work out fine. Alright, so here we are back again. I took some time and I put it together nicely. You know, another method you could try is maybe starting from the inside and kind of adding one face at a time. The best thing is to try and get all your Travis bricks, or at least as many Travis bricks as possible, into place before you attach the faces, because you don't want to have to slightly hold them apart. Anyway, this little bit on the underside is what I was talking about with how it's nice to have it all in light gray. But it's barely visible, so that's fine. Alright, now let's finish this up by building the legs and then putting everything together. Alright, so the small front leg is really simple, so let's get out of the way. You'll want to start with a white hinge brick with a light gray hinge. On top of the hinge, stick a white jumper plate. And then take a white Technic brick, place a 1x1 white plate on top, 1x1 plate on bottom, and on the top side, try and angle these nicely so it's really aligned. On the top side, stick a white cheese slope. And this whole time you'll want to have the hole facing upwards, because what we're going to do is orient our hinge like this, so it bends away from us, and then stick that into the hole. And let's set that aside for now. Now our two side legs are actually the same thing but mirrored. And in fact, you only need to mirror the very bottom part. For the actual main part of the leg, you can build the same thing twice. So you'll want to take 2x7 worth of white plates. I used a 2x4 and a 2x3, but a 2x6 and a 1x2 will work just fine. So, place them next to each other. On top of our 2x4, we'll stick a round 2x2 white tile, and then below that we'll stick 2 white jumper plates, and on the end of our 1x3, 1 more white jumper plate. And now we'll connect all of these using a 1x4 blue plate, and we'll have it overhang a little bit onto our round white plate. Now this step is really expensive. I've talked about these pieces in a previous video, and I had to pay a little bit for it, but there are two cheap options. Now these pieces are, as far as they're called on Bricklink, they're 3x2 plates with a hole in them, something like that. And so you'll want to, for each leg, take 2 of them and stack them on top of each other, and then stick them on the end of our leg. But cheap alternatives: one, if you have the Ghostbusters Ecto 1 car and are willing to take it apart, then it comes with 2 of these. So what you can do is you actually can take one white one and place it on top of a light gray one. Another cheaper option is just take a light blue one, or rather a blue one, and stick it on top of a light gray one. This isn't as good at color scheming, but the well-kept secret of color scheming is that it doesn't have to be that good, because people probably won't know the difference. So, since these are really abundant, I think I got them for something like 5 or 10 cents each, and I have even more sitting about from my collection. The white ones, I got a couple for maybe like 30 cents, and I know there was one I paid over $1 for, so it's a little bit. Anyway, for the bottom part of the leg, now we want to stick a Technic pin that's half of the round rod and half a Technic rod. And then place a T-bar into this. We can make that our last step too, because we'll probably have to adjust it a bit along the way. And then there's this Technic lift arm that's a 2 length. One of it fits a Technic rod, and the other one fits a Technic pin. So stick the rod part into our rod. And now this is the only thing you'll need to build mirrored. Take a 1x1 modified light gray brick with studs on 2 sides. In the back, place a 1x1 white plate. In the front, place a, or the top really, place a 1x1 brown plate. If you can find a better color, I don't know if they really have anything that's closer to like a copper color, but something like orange or red, it really will work just fine. I used brown though. And then on top of that, stick a white cheese slope. It's very similar to how we built the middle leg. And then, depending on which side you're on, just stick a 1x2 white plate, centered so that this little pin goes into our Technic hole. And now we want to stick this into the Technic pin end of our little lift arm. And now we have 2 mirrored legs. So, for putting this whole thing together, the middle leg is easiest to attach. Just stick it in the front of our 4x4 round plate on the bottom. This is not angled very well, so let's adjust it. Alright, and then our 2 legs should be easy to figure out which one goes on which side. And since R2 is not the most stable when he's rolling, you can consider putting, I'm pretty sure it's an 8 length rod, you can consider putting an 8 length rod into the other side of these little holes. I think I will do so just to keep R2 stable. It also might be a decent idea to place these on after the head, but probably both will work fine. Anyway, let's stick this on to our turntables. There's one. There's the other. And now the head should fit nicely.
Alright, this is what I mean when I said it might be advisable not to press down the 2x2 plate and the jumper plate quite so tightly, because if you have it just a little bit loose, R2's head can still attach, can rotate, and there's a very small gap between the body and the head. Otherwise, you could try pressing it really tightly and add another plate of space. Maybe try a 4x4 plate so it kind of fills out nicely. But the other thing I was saying is that you may consider replacing these plates with blue tiles. I didn't really think of that earlier, but now that it comes to cross, I figure I should mention it. But anyways, R2-D2 is complete now. Sit him next to BB-8. You can attach, you can angle the legs a little bit so that they're all on the ground. These have to go back quite a bit, and then this gets angled down a little bit. And so now our nice Star Wars droids are complete. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please rate, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos. Send this to your friends. And I will see you guys next time.